She's a little luxury crossover, but Infiniti is betting that their latest model, this QX30, will be a big deal. As shoppers demand crossovers that are smaller, more efficient, and more maneuverable, machines like this one are becoming more popular. The gist? Infiniti's new entry-level luxury crossover blends compact luxury car dimensions and goodies, as well as the added ride height, more commanding driving position, added space, and all-wheel drive traction that are in high demand. With all-wheel drive and a long list of standard features, you're looking at a starting price of about $38,500. The tester, with both the premium and technology packages adding $8,000 in options, bumped that figure to the better part of $47,000. That's a big sticker for a little machine, so you'd expect it to be pretty stellar. And you do get plenty of stuff, intelligent all-wheel drive that knows what it's doing being part of it, and more on that later. You get this around view parking monitor, memory seating in Napa, that's the leather, not the cabbage, automatic climate control, a panoramic roof, a big Bose stereo, navigation, a full suite of connected car apps, and a full suite of outward-looking hazard detection systems that let the QX30 alert you of hazards in your environment and even brake automatically to mitigate certain types of accidents. So you do get an awful lot of features, and especially safety features, crammed into not an awful lot of space.
Still, I was wishing for a little bit more. This panoramic roof, for instance, it doesn't open, it's just a decoration. And in a world where even sub $20,000 cars are all featuring push-button start, I've still got to insert the key and turn it the old-fashioned way like a peasant. Then there's the wheels, and well, they're fine, but at this price, I wanted something that looked maybe a little bit more special. These ones look like something you'd find on a Hyundai Elantra, so it's maybe a few features and touches short of its price point in some ways, but there is redemption.
And that comes from the performance. This is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 208 horsepower and, more importantly, 258 pounds of torque available from a hilariously low 1,200 RPM. That was V8 territory not that long ago, and the effect of having all that torque in a small and light and frisky little ute is very entertaining. This thing rips. The engine is not quiet, and it isn't one of those ones that never sounds like it's working too hard. It's loud and proud, sounds like it's spinning away furiously when you work it, and I like the charming and raw sort of sound to it when you push. Add in the fast shifting from the 7-speed dual clutch transmission with paddle shifters, and the way the intelligent all-wheel drive system accurately processes the surface beneath for maximum traction, and you've got yourself a seriously lively thing to drive in the winter. This thing is a little beast in the snow, especially with these awesome Michelin X-Ice winter tires. No issue with traction when steering, braking and evading, or getting stopped. Hell, even stop on a slippery hill and she gets moving again, no problem, again and again and again. The ride in most situations is nicely dialed in, sporty and firm to be sure, but not jarring, uncomfortable, or rough or noisy unless you're on a pretty rough stretch of road where ride quality can degrade pretty quickly. And highway cruising, well, noise levels are kept nicely in check right up to cruising speeds. You'll feel right at home in here if you're trading in your little sports coupe or sports sedan for this little sports crossover.
Most notable, while the brakes operate with sports car urgency and precision, the ABS action is noisier and harsher than I expect in a vehicle at this price, but the performance is all there. Further, and to me, this is the big one. They've done a good job of dialing the suspension in for engaging handling and an authentically sporty feel without compromising comfort and refinement and a feel of durability. This is a proper luxury sport ride and handling equation.
Inside, QX30 flaunts many a desirable attribute when it comes to crossover cabin styling. Leather, stitching, wood, and that signature playful Infiniti richness to the overall design are all here. If you're a Mercedes fan, you'll notice that the shifter, instruments, and seat controls over here on the doors, and even the key, are all Mercedes parts since this vehicle is a joint venture. Once you're in, the space is adequate for 4 adults, with the rear seats offering up decent legroom but headroom disappearing fastest for larger folks. You're adequately backed up space-wise for a 4-person road trip if your QX30 is filled with average-sized adults. The cargo hold is handy and easy to access, just big enough for a 4-person road trip worth of gear and bags. I will note 2 complaints though. First, this is a compact crossover and they mean it. If you're much taller than about 5'11", you'll need to watch your head getting in. And second, a few ergonomic gripes dull the cabin's appeal slightly. First, washer controls are on the end of the turn signal lever, which is weird, and the climate controls are awkwardly shoved down here at the bottom of the center stack. This central switch cluster controls the slick on-screen infotainment system. It takes some getting used to and is awkward at first, but ultimately easy to learn once you get used to it. Let's talk traction. 2 notes. First, as Infinitis tend to go, this all-wheel drive system is playful, very smart, and highly adaptive to your speed and throttle inputs. Drive gently in it seeks out maximum traction and stability. Engage sport mode and put your boot down and it's lively, slidey, and a boatload of fun. Second thing I'll mention, as the systems work to process even challenging surfaces beneath the vehicle, as traction comes and goes under each wheel, you'll never hear or feel anything much underneath you. It's just seamless grip, which inspires confidence. So whether you're playing on a winding back road or carefully cruising through a blizzard, you'll feel well backed up. Other notes, the QX30 is highly maneuverable, easy to park with an array of camera displays, and very easy on fuel. I put away a total of 10 liters per 100 clicks on my test drive, very decent given the available performance and my frequent enjoyment of the turbocharger. This machine is probably a more compelling value for some shoppers if you skip the $2,500 in hazard detection systems. Do that and at $44,000, this machine sums up easily. It's a compact luxury sport ute that's heavy on the sport, great on fuel, decent on the luxury, and a feisty little demon of a thing to drive in the winter. Thanks for watching.